Now, how to drive it? Simple. Put on your seatbelt first, like a good civilized driver that you are. Because I'm sure if you're watching this video, you are not buying a Volkswagen Jetta to go crazy, but foot on the brake, put it in drive. And if you want to put sport mode, just push it one more and you see we're in S1, so that's sport 1. We're back in drive, S1. And if you want to shift it by yourself, move the shifter towards the right. Now you can go second gear, first gear, 1, 0. And 100. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we got the last, well, I think this is the last generation of the Volkswagen that comes with a 6-speed manual transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 Volkswagen Jetta. Basically a Volkswagen Golf with a trunk instead of a hatchback. Some quick specs: 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower. This one is an 8-speed automatic transmission, and yes, before you guys say it, I know I do not know how to drive manual, but I'll get there eventually. Pretty simple design. Again, 158 horsepower, and some new things about this one. Now say with me, this thing has an XDS brake-based limited slip differential. If you don't know what that means, it just handles better. It's a little bit more agile. It takes a few more traits from the Golf, at least, making it a little bit more agile and just much more appealing. This one, at least for me, compared to the newer 2025, which looks a little bit more sporty and aggressive, this one looks a little bit more mature and makes it seem a little bit more refined. I think we have 17-inch alloy wheels all around, and this thing is only front-wheel drive, so we don't get anything too crazy. But this is the Sport, and we're gonna check out the interior real quick. But we're gonna open up our trunk. Very simple. This is all cloth. We don't have a lights back here, so if you're working in the dark, it gets dark really quick in here. And your spare tire is down here. And our remote is pretty simple: lock, unlock, remote start, and our trunk release. So let's do our remote start real quick. Very quiet. And the way this thing looks, at least from the back, if you squint hard enough, you see a little bit of Audi remnants ever so slightly. And you know what? I love it. I rock with it quite a bit. We have a beautiful sunroof. And over here we got beautiful leather seats, cup holders. We don't have anything fancy back here, but from a comfortable driving position, at least for me, I have enough leg room. I have enough headroom. And closing it up, soft touch all around, aluminum door handles, 12 speakers all around. And our windows, since the car is technically still off, it won't work. But no vents, because this is the sport model. We don't really get all the fancy stuff. If I go for the GLI instead, I'll get like 12 inches of screen up in there and way more better upgrades essentially. Now hopping to the front, diam is chilly. It's like -11, so if I sound like I'm kind of rushing, you guys know it's -11 up here, and I'm African. Foot on the brake. There we go. Very simple. Again, 6 inches of screen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We got our wireless charging pad, a lot of poverty buttons. You know what I should do now? I should get like googly eyes to put on all these poverty buttons, because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poverty buttons for my date to see. Because if she sits right here, she will see that there's absolutely nothing here for me to flex with. But I do have Apple CarPlay, and the screen is actually pretty responsive. Now where's my menu? Going to menu, look at it. It's responsive enough, and this thing, less than 30 grand, brand new. It's actually a really good deal. And if you want to see what our backup camera looks like, just like that. Not exactly HD or high definition, but it's well enough for you to understand what you're gonna be doing. We got blind spot monitoring, and to open our sunroof, I'm gonna do this. Yes, it's not automatic, but boo. Look at that. I'll give this roughly 5-ish seconds to open, maybe a little bit less, but popping up because I'm stupid. Not bad. The only car reviewer who's crazy enough to stick his head out of it, you know what, I'm not even gonna go there. But anyway, we have enough upgrades to make it, let's say, logical enough for somebody who just wants a daily driver, because this is arguably one of the best daily drivers. When I say it's the best first car, I'll give that to the Golf. But one little thing that bugs me the most, the thing that bugs me the most about this car is when I want to adjust my volume. I'm glad they did, I can do it from here, but look at this. I can also adjust it from here, but you see how power button rotates. So let's say this is the sweet spot. My power button is upside down. Maybe it's a cool little feature, but I really don't like that, because some people might have ADHD or something, want to be perfectionists. I want it to look like this all the time. I want it to look proper, so I always use my volume from this part. But anyway, if you want to switch up your view, press the view button right here. You can switch up your view just to show you your gas mileage, and you can just move it around, switch it up. Or we can do this, adds a little bit more extra, or you can just go to the regular where you can see your RPMs and everything else like that. Now, how to drive it? Simple. Put on your seatbelt first, like a good civilized driver that you are, because I'm sure if you're watching this video, you are not buying a Volkswagen Jetta to go crazy. But foot on the brake, put it in drive, and if you want to put sport mode, just push it one more, and you see we're in S1, so that's sport 1. We're back in drive, S1. And if you want to shift it by yourself, move the shifter towards the right. Now you can go second gear, first gear. It's simple. It's impossible for you to mess it up. But okay, let's go for a drive. 0 to 60 in this car comes in, I want to say, a good 6.1 seconds roughly. In the manual you'll probably be quicker depending on how you shift and how good of a driver you are. We got heated seats, and we also got a heated steering wheel, which is very nice to have, especially when it's kind of cold out here. Even though it says it's -1, it feels like -11. So there you guys have it. And if you're wondering what happens if I decide to push my parking brake while we're still moving like this, that happens. So since I'm holding it, it stays. And since it's fully engaged, it's gonna stay like that. But if I am, let's say, driving and I tap it, nothing's gonna happen. And if we do a light little pull, it might feel sluggish to get up and go, but it's overall really good, at least decent. 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. I really don't need a car that gets to 60 faster than that, because that's literally just sports car numbers at that point. But if you want to shift by yourself, the transmission is quite slow. God damn, feels sluggish. Okay, but we'll give it another shot, because maybe I downshifted a little bit too quick and the car was already slowing down, so it didn't feel the need to downshift as aggressively. But we're in manual mode. Let's put it in sport, and we're going to manual mode as well. Maybe that makes it a little bit more sportier. But we're gonna do a light little pull on this side street. Okay, I'm sound corrected. The transmission is adaptive enough. And the only problem with this one, at least for me, because think about it, this thing is competitors. Now, the Mazda hatchback, the Mazda sedan, Mazda 3 sedan, and the Honda Civic. Honda Civics are for the boys who feel like, the people who feel like they can drive fast without having to go fast type thing, right? You get a Honda Civic because maybe you want to redline your engine to oblivion, and the Honda Civic can tolerate that. And it also has a lot more mod support. So this thing has a lot of steep competition, and it kind of, I want to say it's the more mature of the trio. The Jetta, compared to a Honda Civic, I'll honestly think, if I see you driving a Jetta, I'll think you're more mature than a Honda Civic driver. No hate to Honda Civic drivers, you guys have your own things going on, and I'm not going to try and pick a fight with you guys. But overall, this is like the vibe this car gives. It's a little bit more mature, it's a little bit more refined, and you can drive it in pretty much every weather condition. Snow, rain. Don't take it off-roading, because you really don't have the clearance for off-roading, but if you really were crazy enough to do that, I guess you could, but nobody's going to take the Jetta off-roading like that. And it still has the nimbleness of the Golf, because they've taken enough of it so that it feels like a pseudo Golf, you know? It's like the big sibling, not the, you know what, maybe it's like the middle child. It's not, it doesn't have a very specific defined role, but the role it has it's good at being undefined, because you can be sporty with this thing. It's not too agile as it stands right now, because the Golf is still leagues ahead of this thing in terms of agility and the way it drives and everything. This one is more, like I said, mature, for a mature audience essentially. But you can go crazy with it and throw it into a corner, it will handle it well. And if we talk about our noise insulation right now, wait, let me open the window real quick so you guys can hear how windy it is before you guys judge the insulation of this car. Yep. Now we close it up. It's much more silent in here, just the way it should be. And honestly, you don't need anything more. A thing I kind of hate is that, okay, another thing I hate besides the volume knob button is that I have to separately turn on my cruise control and my adaptive cruise control. There's not just one button, because they have the bright idea that you might want to just have cruise control without the adaptive cruise control, which I don't think anybody buys a car with adaptive cruise control just to use the regular cruise control. Here's my point. So if I turn this on, this is regular cruise control and lane keep assist. There is no adaptive cruise control. And to prove my point even further, if I go into here and I'm like, you know what, I just want my cruise control, I gotta switch it on manually. Fair enough. Why would you put it there? Why would this be an option like this? Like, okay, let's say I want to turn on my adaptive cruise control, I still gotta switch off from the main. So why would you make it an option where I can click to select my adaptive cruise control from this button over here if I can't select it that way? Maybe someone in the comments is gonna correct me and make me look like a fool, but until then, I'm gonna stand my ground 10 toes down, saying that feels kind of stupid. But if I press this button, my adaptive cruise control is now on. Turning this one, a whole bunch of stuff just got turned on too, and it's just interesting. These two buttons, I feel like could have been one big button, but because it would just look too weird to have one big button going on like this, they decided to make it like that. But we're gonna test out a quick adaptive cruise control. Okay, now it's activated. Perfect. And then slide. Again, it snowed a bit, so the ground is slightly wet, but nothing this car can't handle. We have all seasons, so worst case scenario, I'm probably gonna get stuck. I'm gonna need to get towed away. Hasn't happened to me yet, and I've been in at least 6 to 10 centimeters of snow, so just keep the wheels spinning. And if you want to turn off your traction control, because you're a dummy like me who likes to drive front-wheel drive cars without any winter preparation in the snow, you're gonna have to go into your car and then into your settings, which is not available while you drive, so you can't turn off traction control while you're driving. You gotta do it when you're at a complete stop to at least do that, enable that. Which I can understand the safety side, but it's just another level of restriction that I really don't like. But you know what, it is what it is, right? I can't get too mad at them for trying to make the car more safer, right? And another cool thing is that this thing reads your hands. I don't know how to use it, so please do not judge me, but it recognizes your hand and it kind of, what's it called? Okay, let me put my hand down. You see the setting and selection, that will disappear eventually, and by pulling up my hand, that pops back up. Let's go into radio, for example. Like if I give it a second, it will like go into a calm version of the screen, and then if I do that, everything pops up, which is pretty nice. I don't know where the sensor exactly is sitting, but it's hidden away well enough to the point where you're not gonna see it, and I love that. And since we have 12 speakers, let me do an audio sound check for you. We're at 99.9 Virgin Radio.
99.9 Virgin Radio. Well,
okay, pretty good. But you see what I mean? My volume knob just rotates, and now my power button is upside down all over again. Like, that's the only thing I really don't like about this infotainment system. Other than that, this thing is really, really good. And we still have physical buttons, because the newer one, all this is, I want to say touchscreen, but it's not a physical button, which feels weird, but get something used to, right? It's not the fanciest car. If I had the GLI, maybe things would be different. I'll have 12 inches of screen for one. I'll have no poverty buttons to show off to my date. Like, I would have a lot of more stuff. But since this is like the sweet spot that most people at least tend to get, I gotta show you what it's like. And I completely forgot to turn off traction control and show you guys how you guys do it, in case because maybe some of you guys, actually a handful of you guys, are actually Canadian, so you guys do have to deal with snow sometimes. But again, go into your menu, go into your car button right here, go into settings, and then turn off your traction control. Simple as that. And you know, we'll just do a couple more pulls just to give you guys a feel of the speed, because right now we're going 40. Put it in manual mode, downshift twice. Okay, maybe the transmission is not the quickest thing out there. Fair enough. And then we have jaywalkers, downshift. Okay, good. Like, again, still smooth. Maybe not the quickest and most agile thing out there compared to the Golf, but it is still a very, very good car. Okay. And yes, if you don't shift quick enough, it will shift for you. And I like how it doesn't try to be sporty. It gives you the option that, okay, maybe we can be kind of quick, but not really. But yeah, here's how you turn off your traction control. Go into ESC, activate it, and turn that off. Our traction control is now off, just like that. And you have a whole lot of more settings that you are not allowed to touch if you're driving, which is honestly a pretty safe feature. I respect that. I respect that. I would only wish they gave it the traction control an actual physical button, like maybe something down here, because the only thing down here is our lights. That's literally all we got. And yes, you can manage our view and change up everything, like simple stuff like that, right? It's a fully good 8 inches of screen for our digital gauge cluster. And you can also set it up to change the lights. You can have, instead of a blue outline like you see here, we can have a red or a yellow. The sun is torching me right now, goddamn. But yeah, that's essentially my thoughts on the 2024 versus 2025. To me, they are not too different. The 2025 looks a little bit more sporty and can feel a little bit more sporty, but it's literally just the same engine and an upgraded platform essentially. Yeah, all this stuff. No, don't reset that, please. Like all this stuff. Now if we go to ambient lighting, before the light changes, I wanna make it, oh yeah, we do have ambient lighting in this thing, but we're gonna make it brighter. Well, since it's in the day, you can't really see it, but we do have ambient lighting in this thing as well. But overall, these are my thoughts on the 2024 Volkswagen Jetta. Woo! Okay, has a lot of pep to it. Very decent amount of pep. Transmission may feel sluggish, but most people are really not going to care about that whatsoever. And with lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, it's really good city and highway driving. It's not bad at all. If I get the chance, I'll try and do a 0 to 60, but if I can't, it is what it is. You guys know, 0 to 60, 6 seconds, not 7, 6 seconds. And let me guys know what kind of cars you guys want to see on the channel, because part of me wants to get a wrecked car to fix it up, just for giggles, you know, just to tickle my funny bone, because I could buy a lot of stuff from this dealership with all these wrecked cars, and I'm like, you know what, it might be kind of worth it, you know. But it looks like we have an empty enough street up ahead of us that's long and straight. Won't be difficult to hit 60 on this thing, but a pseudo 60. We're gonna drop it up a little bit more. 20, 3, 2, 1, 0. And 100. Not bad. I didn't step on it too hard because the tires would spin, and I don't want to make a spectacle. The tires would spin a little bit, and since it snowed a bit, it would spin. But other than that, really good car. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining me in the 2024 Volkswagen Jetta. Take care and peace.